All right. Welcome back to Perfect Strangers Podcast, Episode 3. I'm your co host, Anthony, and with me here, Paul.
My name is Paul Cullen, and I'm the host of this podcast, all the podcasts, and we are here with a very special guest,
How you doing?
my friend Freeman Eckles.
Freeman Eckles.
Freeman.
Yeah.
So, why don't you just take some time to introduce yourself on the podcast?
Yeah. Well, I go to school with Paul. That's how we met. College, community college. We're both in the comp sci class. Had a lot of good times together. He asked me on the podcast, so here I am. Gonna talk about myself. Gonna talk about some things, I guess.
Freeman's the only reason I passed computer science.
I'm responsible for at least 3 or 4 kids passing the class almost directly. It's a lot of
Directly.
fun. Yeah. Well, Manny took my textbook, and I helped at least 3 other kids, just straight up giving them the answers on the assignments.
Freeman,
But hey,
are
you know,
are
I'm
you interested
selfless.
in computers?
You could say that, sure. Yeah.
Have you ever built your own computer?
Yeah, man. I built a couple desktops myself.
Oh, nice. I've only built one desktop.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that good. It wasn't like a gaming PC, but
No.
it was still a good learning experience.
It's fun. It's a good thing.
My
looking up
stepdad,
parts.
he's got a master's degree in network communications.
Oh,
He's
yeah?
really
That's
big
the
into-
degree that you got to get.
Yeah.
That's the one.
You take that anywhere.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, he's really big into it, so he showed me how to build computers and stuff
Yeah.
like that, yeah.
I mean, I must say, working in IT this semester and this past semester has not given me confidence for the networking career. So,
You think you're going to fall off the computer science train?
it's going to happen eventually. I don't know. I can't picture, like, a 10-year career doing that. I don't think so.
Yeah,
Computer
that's
science
yeah.
is tough. That's a really tough thing.
It's, I mean, yeah, a lot of people got washed out from the first semester.
Yeah, that's what happens. Well, my girlfriend is a computer science major. She just graduated with a computer science degree, associates. And she said,
Congratulations.
yeah, she said that after her first semester, she lost like 3/4 of her class, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
down to like 6 or 7 people,
Yeah.
and only 3 people graduated this semester with a computer science degree
Yeah.
out of her class. So, yeah, I wouldn't call it necessarily hard. It's just you got to put the time into it.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, it's interesting to a lot of people, especially in high school. It's the same way. We got, the first class in high school comp sci was binary numbers, and probably a third of the class understood it, and that was the third that was there the next day. So I don't know what it is. It's like people just can't comprehend the concepts of it conceptually. It's hard to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of math involved, right?
Not like calculus, but like logic and argumentation and things like that.
The ability to understand an algorithm and
Yeah.
to create an algorithm
Yeah.
is really what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you could build something to work through the steps of what math needs to do
Yeah.
for an assignment or what you need to do for a project, then that's all the math you're going to need. It's not like you need calculus to do computer science. You need to learn how to make computer science do calculus.
Right. Well, calculus is applied and pretty direct. I mean, it has functionality, and the point of computer science is that it's object-oriented, so it works with anything. It's relatable, it's systematic, so it's the same thing, it's just conceptual.
It's necessary.
Yeah, it's efficient. Yeah,
But you were thinking about leaning towards psychology.
I was.
Has that changed since the last time I've talked to you?
No, it's actually getting worse. And by worse, I mean better. I've had an interest in psychology and philosophy and things like that forever. Comp sci seem more practical, it seemed more pragmatic.
That's
and-
exactly why I did
yeah.
it too.
And right out of high school, I was like, that's the only thing that stands out. Because reading, Nietzsche and shit in high school when you're 15 is like, we'll just put you on the wrong track. But now that
Psychology's really cool.
now that I
Yeah.
understand it, it's actually a lot more interesting. It's this, it's the same kind of problem solving, just asking tough questions and figuring out ways around it. It's just totally different universe.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A little philosophical as well. I used to be a psych major, and I switched to business administration.
For practicality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
I love psychology.
a lot of psych majors turn out to be lawyers.
Really?
Yeah, they get into the ethics
do,
of
they
it.
do.
I mean, you gotta. well, I mean, I heard about some statistic of like there's X number of psych majors. I'm like, what the fuck are these people doing? You know, just spending their time in.
Well, I was always told
Nothing.
that getting a psychology degree is like the degree that you go for if you just want to graduate.
Okay.
Because you don't need any math, and that's what
Right.
weeds out a huge portion of the people that don't graduate from college.
Yeah.
Other than the ability to pay for it, the ability to do math is
Sure.
that's kind of why I switched psychology. Aside from my interest in it, because I already have all the math credits I need out of high school.
Well, is it as rigorous as a science? What do you think?
What do you mean?
Psychology. I put it sort of below science, but
Yeah,
with
I
a
would put
similar
it
method.
A little bit below science. Yeah, it's definitely not as rigorous, but it's close.
I put it like right between philosophy and like hard science. Any
Yeah,
hard science.
that's a really logical place to put it because
So-
it's a lot of theory.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
a lot of like testing is part of science, and science is a lot of theory. But science, in a way, is more concrete and visual, and like things are things because this, rather than psychology being up to debate almost 90% of the time.
Sure.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, it's in that sweet spot of like, it's not, you know, I think of philosophy, I was thinking about this today, I was thinking of it as like, philosophy is sort of what, you know, values, and science is sort of facts. So what things are versus what they should be. And psychology deals with both in an interesting way. So I guess it's sort of right in between. There's a good little Venn diagram there.
You can make a Venn diagram with that.
I always think of Venn diagrams.
That was an applause for Venn diagrams.
Yes.
Shout out to Venn. I forgot his first name. But he was good. He was pretty
Venn.
good.
Yeah. That's pretty genius.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie to you.
Damn. There's been nothing like that for a long time.
We
Well,
need
you
to
got
bring
bar
that
graphs.
sort of
You
art
got bar
back,
graphs, yeah.
You know?
What do you mean?
Useful art.
Like
how
a
the
Venn diagram?
Yeah.
Sure.
You would call that art?
Yeah, wouldn't
It's
you?
I mean,
Like, do you think he drew the circles first or the words? Like, yeah, like, what? Did he draw it as one or did he draw the circles? And then someone's like, oh man, you
Damn.
could put words in here, dude.
You could use this to divide things.
yo, wait.
Yeah, like,
What if we put
compare and
words
contrast,
in
bro.
the circles? It is, well, okay. I mean, it's creative, so it is kind of artistic. It's an expression of
John Venn.
John Venn.
Shout
there
out
you
to
go.
John Venn.
As a real ass dude of the week, John Venn.
That's the guy of the week.
Welcome to our newest segment, Realist Dude of the Week, John Venn.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm all about practical, symbolic representations of abstract things, and that's a good one. It's a very good one. Grouping things, and then you can see the overlap there.
Yeah.
It's very nice. That's what I'm all about. I've been reading a lot of psychology stuff,
Like what?
going down a rabbit hole. Well, you were privy to our some of our discussions in English too about archetypes.
Yes. It's your favorite word.
Yeah. I got really into that reading Dante's Inferno, and I've been reading a lot of Carl Jung.
Oh, I've always wanted to read Dante's Inferno.
It's incredible. It's like I mean, it's a transcendent experience, so it's really relatable and exciting. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's hard to wrap it up into a nice little package, but it's religious, it's mythological.
It's comedic.
Sure.
At points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely
It's a big read, though, right?
Not really. Did we read a shortened version?
yeah. They took out about 30,
30.
30 chapters.
Oh wow. Okay. Did you take your time to read the other chapters?
I did. Well worth it. I mean, if you're interested in that stuff, I mean, nobody cares for the most part. But
You want to give like a quick synopsis of the plot for those who haven't?
sure. Well, the psychological perspective is Dante was exiled from his hometown, and as a result, he goes on a journey, the religious and mythological journey of searching for the homeland. So he goes through hell to purgatory to heaven, and the psychological aspect of that is that you have to confront the shadow, it's called, the dark aspects of your own personality and your own consciousness, to learn from it, integrate it, and become whole as a result. Become a whole, healthy person. So that's exactly what he does. He goes through hell to get to heaven, which is a great concept,
So
I
he,
think.
he conquers his demons.
Absolutely, literally.
Yeah.
That's poetic.
It's
Yeah,
very
exactly.
good. It's very good, and I mean, it's so visual. You get a lot out of it.
Yeah, it does a really good job of really making you
Scaring you.
see it.
Yeah,
Wow, that's great. Dante's Inferno. I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Recommend it. But my paper, I'm going to do this research paper, comparing the psychological journey to Dante's own journey. So,
What do you
figuring
mean
out
by the psychological journey?
well, the process, the therapeutic process of.
So like if okay.
Well, it's a Freudian thing, is integrating
I
your
was- yeah.
repressed nature. The dark side of your own humanity. It's it's a fundamental aspect of your own being. So you've got it. You can't
You
hide
have to
it.
utilize it.
Yeah, you
I
can't
was
repress
going
it.
to ask you earlier if you studied Freud because,
Yeah, I'm into it.
Yeah.
The sort of the fork in the road. Down dream interpretation. It takes you one way toward Jung and one way towards Freud. There's a big schism there, and Jung takes it towards the mythological more than Freud. Freud's very pragmatic,
Yeah,
but
true.
what I'm interested in is the myth and the archetype and less than literal things.
Yeah, Freud is very literal.
Absolutely,
Everything chalks up to you want to have sex with your own mom in Freud's
it's a
mind.
big one.
Yeah, that's
Regression
a big
to the
thing.
womb.
That's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, well,
You got to get back.
back to where he came from. That's the homeland. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was listening to a different podcast and they were going over the literal aspect of life beginning with separation.
Oh, sure.
So that's the first thing you
Yeah.
literally experience is separation. So it what that means is
Just got
beyond
chills.
me.
I can explain some of that.
But yeah.
So,
go
well,
for
there's
it.
this philosophical concept that Martin Heidegger developed called thrownness, which is akin to nihilism. It's basically understanding the harsh, cold reality of life, and this is how it starts with the separation at birth, well, as birth.
Yeah.
So you might say life is death because they're all you can't have life without death, and that connection is scary for a lot of people. It induces nihilism. It's a fear-inducing thing.
So nihilism in a layman explanation would be like, we're all gonna die anyway. Nothing matters. Fuck it.
Yeah, Nike. Fuck it. Just fuck it.
Nike nihilism. That's pretty good.
Just fuck it.
Just fuck it. Thrownness is like you've stared into the void and you see the infinity of what's going on, and you're like, I can't deal with that. That's too much, man. That's too much going on. And you sort of get lost. It's like, is it worth it? There's a lot of catastrophe. There's a lot of shit going on. Ultimately, I'm gonna die. None of this matters.
Do you think that lends itself to why religion is so prominent in the world?
I don't think. I think that's a reaction to it. I think religion mostly stems from the need for will to power, and the idea of accepting some sort of universal. This gets you to plant a tree that you'll never see the shade of, and you'll never eat the fruit of. It's like I exist more than my
Something
body.
higher
more than
me,
myself.
Yeah, more than my
There's
time.
something higher
Absolutely.
going on. There's more at work
Yeah,
than we
yeah.
can see.
Well, the divine. I
That's why
mean,
we should all be one.
yeah. Well, absolutely. I mean, community is a big part of that, and respect for the sanctity of life. I think divine is close to transcendent. So if you're going to have a transcendent experience, it can't be explained by science. It goes beyond that. It goes to magic. It goes to myth. It goes to mythology and whatever's else out there. Jung called it alchemy, basically the field of study beyond science. Did you read Faust? Okay, Faust.
Well, yeah, I
Faust deals with this. It's like the learned scholar who only has a thirst for more knowledge, and again, that's the infinity of knowledge, and takes him beyond.
Doesn't it kind of come around and bite him in the ass?
Yes, that's the problem. I mean, if you that's a big problem with nihilism because, you have to reject the void and project some sort of meaning into your life to make yourself useful. But if you go too far with that, it'll lead you astray because ultimately, it becomes futile in the end. Mm-hmm. And with Faust, he sells his soul to the devil for knowledge, which means he gave up too much on the pursuit. On his projected path. So he went too far. You have to manage some of those things.
You have to keep that under control.
Absolutely. You need barriers. You need good barriers. You can't have no barriers. You can't have,
Checks
you can't
and
have a
balances.
labyrinth.
Checks and balances
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
good way. It's a good analogy.
You need a good social structure, keep you in check with people, develop a good close friendship, and then do a podcast in a shed. That's how it all comes together.
Human interaction is imperative
Absolutely.
to the human life.
Well, I mean,
true.
you've got these dichotomies in the psyche. The extroversion and the introversion, dominance and submission. The inner and the outer personality. You have your social face that you put to the world, and then you also have your introspective
True.
qualities. So, hand in hand, you gotta have both. Chaos, order. Yeah.
Can't have one without the other.
Yeah. Light and dark. I mean, it's all relative to each other.
There was something I wanted to say while we were on the topic of religion, but I can't quite remember exactly what it was. So,
We already covered religion
it was...
Yeah.
in a podcast.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was it the last one or the one before that? I mean,
Well, I
we
just mean,
could,
like, since we're talking about, like,
Yeah.
Dante's Inferno and all this other stuff, I figured I could bring up this topic, but it just slipped my mind. So when it comes to mine, I'll bring it back up.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I wasn't raised religious. My parents are atheist.
Atheist?
Yeah.
Like a hard atheist? Or
Yeah,
like
like hard atheist,
Okay.
no respect for religion, none of that.
No respect at all.
No
like,
respect
just-
at all.
So they're like, do they believe in science? Are they like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the Dawkins thing of like religion is a virus, which I don't believe. I think that's too crude. But it's the same kind of thing where in their mind, religion is akin to just not science and just not information. But I don't think that's
almost
true.
a weakness.
Right. And I think, someplace less than faith is important to be. I'm not certain that faith is the only thing you need and that it's an entirely good thing, but it's important to have, in some respects. So, yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a faithful person. I'm very practical and logical, but,
agree.
you need to address those sort of things. You need to have, for higher purpose. Sort
yeah,
of thing.
of course, yeah. Me and Paul explained this in the last episode. If
Right.
you haven't seen it, check out episode 2.
Yeah. Oh, man.
It's a good one, I promise. There's a lot of jokes, giggles, and there's not many jokes.
Funnier than this one.
It's okay. That's not true. This one's already kind of funny.
Yeah, all right.
Next topic, I kind of want to talk about
Oh.
the canceling of the summit between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I won't be much help on this.
Oh, you haven't?
I don't follow.
I'm not one to follow it either, but it was kind of unavoidable because I follow Donald
Absolutely.
Trump on Twitter for the jokes.
Absolutely.
You want to start this one off? Because I actually haven't read anything about
Yeah.
this all day. I know it happened earlier
I thought
today,
that was
right?
all finished. I thought that was all done.
What do you mean?
I mean, I thought he.
To my understanding, this has something to do with Pence.
Yes, it has something to do with Pence.
Damn, I was just thinking about him.
So
What is he up to?
what happened?
What's he doing?
Essentially, the short of it is, someone on Kim Jong Un's team
Right.
basically said some bad shit about Mike Pence,
Okay.
and Donald Trump, in response, canceled the summit.
Okay.
He said it was for other reasons, like
It's
they're
just coincidentally
yeah,
right at that time.
but he said it was because they didn't destroy their nuclear testing facility when in reality they did, and so like right after he made this, he posted the picture of the letter that he sent to Kim Jong Un, where it was like, "Hey, you could call me or write me if you change your mind." But everyone's like, "What do you mean change your mind? You canceled the summit." And so that's a whole joke in itself. But Donald Trump said he is willing, and it's still a maybe. So he canceled it, but now it's like, yeah, it might still happen. So it's
My understanding was that we figured that stuff out.
Would-
North Korea was willing to play ball with South Korea and cut the nukes, but I really don't follow it that closely. So I guess
yeah, it's
more.
I always
more
thought
had
it was
to be
kind
done.
of sketchy
Yeah.
at the timing that North Korea, when they just decided to all of a sudden go, hey, let's meet up with South Korea, shake
Yeah,
hands,
yeah.
take pictures. It looks good to the world.
Sure.
it looks
we'll
good
say
to the
we'll do
world.
this and that, but then Are they actually doing it? Like, we're still not inside North Korea, so we don't
Yeah.
really know what's happening.
But I mean, are they competent enough to make a play like that?
That is a good question
my
as well.
perception is no.
Yeah,
But I
definitely.
don't. I'm not at all familiar.
Yeah.
Well, like we have stealth bombers, so
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can essentially see
Yeah.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the government.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have no fear of North Korea. Even
No,
though they're a
not
wild card of a country, I think our defense system is good enough. I think their missiles aren't good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like we'll be okay. The thing that would be in trouble is inter-country relations.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what would be the most damaged. There wouldn't be a lot of
Economic
The
collapse.
UN is the most at stake with all of this because not everybody really agrees with the US's position on this, especially Russia. They
Yeah.
could care
Well,
less.
okay. Well, I mean, if that's who we're turning to for diplomatic relations, Russia has their own issues, I suppose. A lot of internal issues. They don't like the UN. Damn.
Never have. They only signed the agreement just to shut the US up.
Yeah, yeah. I think you can actually
Russia always does.
Yeah. Well, they're a wild card. I mean, they're the weird Ruskies. You can kind of point to Brexit for a lot of growing distrust in the UN. Became a real big anti-establishment thing really quickly, globally concerning the UN. So I think that's been mounting, and I don't know if we need the UN totally. I don't know if it's something that we ought to keep around. But hey, man.
I wouldn't say that we need it, but I still think it's important.
Yeah.
It's
It's good to have a rule book.
yeah.
I
think.
think the UN has outgrown itself since the times of World War II and the Cold War.
Oh, the point is that it's been the same since World War II, and it
Yeah.
needs to change. So the way it deals with Germany and territory and things like that is no good. And it was a wartime thing, and now it is no longer. So it's gotta change something. This is
Yeah.
all hearsay, by the way. I'm not. These opinions are on my own. So
Yeah, my dad was telling me how he really wishes, like, if we aren't sure about something, instead of looking it up, he wants me to call him.
okay.
Because he just he says that he finds himself listening to the podcast in the car and like talking to me.
Yeah.
Because he can't deal with it.
I hate that so much. When if you're listening to a podcast and they can't remember the name of something, and then I know
You're
it
just
right away,
screaming it,
I'm
shaking
just
the steering wheel.
It's the worst thing.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So you just turned 21
I
recently,
did. Yeah, April.
and
Oh,
Mid-April.
happy birthday.
Thanks, man.
so did you take a year off before going to college?
Yeah, I did.
Is that when you went to Nepal?
Well, so I graduated early in high school. I did a half semester in my senior year. So I cut that out early. My parents were like, "Get a job," and I was like, "No, can't do that." So my friend, my good buddy, who lives in Laos, he organized a trek with a bunch of other yogis and stuff. We went to Nepal for a little over a month. Trekking in the Himalayas, man, it was good fun.
Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. It was like,
Dang.
well, I turned 18 on that trek. It was one of the best things I've ever done. It's an incredible first step. Again, mythologically and religiously, that's the journey, to discover your individuality. It's a rite of passage. It's a trial for maturity. It was absolutely that, and a lot more actually. There's a pretty good story. Damn, this is weird thinking about this again because I haven't thought about it in a long time. Yeah, going to Nepal. Traveling by myself as well, and that was not the only. I went to New Zealand first, and then.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
always wanted to go to New Zealand.
I was born in New Zealand.
Oh, really?
Me and my sister both. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So you are a New Zealandan.
I am. I have dual citizenship. Yeah, I've got a New Zealand passport. I've got a U.S. passport.
Interesting.
Lord
Yeah.
of the Rings.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
are
yeah.
a hobbit.
Absolutely. I live in a hill house. No.
A hobbit hole.
Yeah, that's
Freeman.
right. Oh, sorry. Listen, I'm not up on the terminology.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I'm a Kiwi. All right. No, but New Zealand's great. Yeah.
You said there was a good story with Nepal.
With
Are
Nepal,
you at
yes.
liberty to share that?
Absolutely. It's kind of, I don't know. Okay, well, all right. Final week of the trek. it was a really bad time for the first probably week into the trek because I was ridiculously sick, and then with altitude, and
Yeah.
it just compounds and it gets bad. So I was out for a couple of days, just having things exit my body as quick as possible.
At speeds.
At speeds.
Unmeasurable speeds.
Mach 3. After that, it actually turned out pretty good. But we were at the final stop on our trek. We were about to turn back. This is the last place we're going. You pretty much go
In the
through
mountains?
these little villages the whole way, and you stay in these people's houses. These called tea houses. So it's really embedded in there in that culture in the mountains. It's incredible. So final stop, we chose to spend an extra day at the final place because we all had time. We weren't going to miss a flight or anything. So we spend a day there, and then on the way back, an earthquake hits, and this is the first earthquake in like a decade or more in Nepal, and it was like it was 7 point something. It was just like an almost an 8.0 earthquake. And we were on the we were on the ground as it happened. You could feel the wave hit. It was so disorienting to feel the wave under your feet and have the earth move out from under you.
What was the did you say the what's the strength?
The magnitude.
The magnitude.
7 point something.
Oof, that's almost.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
only
yeah.
goes up to 8 or 9. Right?
I think. Well, it's on a scale
That's
of 10.
crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
0.5 size.
Yeah, something like that. 6.0 aftershocks the whole week after. It was just
the
crazy.
whole week.
Yeah, yeah.
Like almost like daily.
Days.
Or like multiple times a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were stuck
Yeah, they
there.
happen in waves, aftershocks.
Yeah,
There's a bee inside.
we were stuck there.
snap.
We ended up getting stuck there for another week. Just stuck in this place. When you have aftershocks, we were all sleeping outside and repairing walls and getting water from the river.
Yeah.
So we were near a mountainside as it happened, and you could hear the crack go up from the ground.
Yeah.
It was like one of my friends was like saying it's like a plane hit or something. It was just this like thunderous boom.
It felt like an emergency was going on.
It was fucking crazy. It was insane. Everybody was sort of running around. I watched like a little stone wall just like tip over, and I'm like,
That's not right.
What is going on? Before anything happened, I was like, oh, okay, something's going on here. Man, stuck there for a while. That was like the closest I've ever been to dying, but it also felt so abstract and weird, like it wasn't happening the whole time. And it was weird, just like we had to go walk for a while. We had to walk, basically over these people's houses.
Dude, that's crazy.
It's insane. It's still I can't even picture myself being there at this time.
So it's still even hard to process.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've never had anything like that. I have no frame of reference to talk about it.
Is that a regular thing over there? Or like?
No, it used to be. Well, I mean, like I said, there hasn't been one in a long time, and that was the first one in at least a decade, as far as I know.
That's wild, dude.
It's pretty crazy. So there's about 20 of us plus guides, stuck in this one place for a long time. And the guys whose house we were staying at was like, we got enough food for everybody. We could feed 50 people for a month. And as we started getting in touch with like helicopters to get us out of there, the U.S. Embassy and stuff, he calls them up and they're like, we're out of food in a week. We need the helicopters right now. We can't support this. It was insane. I don't know. I still don't know which one of those was true. He might have just said that to get the helicopters out, but he also might have said the other thing just to keep us calm.
Yeah, that was a power move on his part.
Yeah, man, that guy was so cool.
Maybe he should be the cool dude of the week.
yeah. Change it to that. Okay. Dawa.
Realest dude of the
Dawa?
week.
You
Dawa.
remember his name? What, Dawa?
Dawa, yeah.
Shout out to
Sumba.
Dawa, the
You know
realest
what
dude
that
of the
means
week.
at all?
I'm not sure. It's been so long. I used to know, but I forgot. Anyway, he comes out with, we're all having dinner and just like shaken up, really shaken up, obviously, literally, but people just like burst into tears every now and then. Anyway, at dinner at one time, he just comes around with a bag of Jolly Ranchers and he's like, it's all good, guys. We're just having a good time eating candy in Nepal.
This was post-earthquake.
This is post-earthquake and just calming people down. It was craziness.
Oh, man. That's... Okay,
I don't...
I have to address this During that entire story,
Am
there was no. There was a general panic in the room of a bee that was just flying at like eye level, and it just slowly made. We had someone run to the door and let it out. That was a stressful time for me, and I have to say I kind of
Anyway.
zoned out of that.
Well,
but
hey.
I will re-listen and enjoy that story thoroughly.
I'm not doing it justice. It was really an interesting experience, and I can't fully describe it. It's
That's
crazy.
I mean,
I thought
That is
about
an
it.
insane experience.
I've thought about it intensely like years ago, and I kept remembering things that were happening. And I was like, that didn't happen. That couldn't have happened. I mean, it was just weird stuff. Really dreamlike, but hey, it must have happened. I got my name in the paper.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Congrats.
Well, I was missing for a weekend.
Where's Freeman?
Right, exactly. Well, okay, so it was Friday. We had no cell service. And Saturday, my parents pull up, BBC or whatever, massive earthquake in Nepal, and then they look on the map, and it's like right exactly where I was. There's the fucking epicenter, and we're like a kilometer away from it. We were so close. And then so I get in touch with them. There was this one guy who had a cell phone in the village, and like 30 people lined up at his house just with like giving him cash to call out.
The one
need
guy.
to
And then
use the
right,
phone.
yeah, just calling China, Argentina, like everywhere these yogis are from. I called my parents. It was so weird, man.
Wait, so you got in line with people calling China
Did you
Yeah.
pay him
and
the $5?
Argentina?
Yeah, I paid him, 500 rupees or something to use the phone. Yeah, and then
they have that instead of phone booths.
yeah, it's just a guy's house. But okay, well, and then the embassy called that phone because they were like,
How did
there's
they
a,
know?
Right, there's a bunch of people calling out of this place from all
That's
over.
some Big Brother
It's
shit, dude.
some emergency situation. All right, I mean I'm fully fuck privacy. I need to know that the government knows where I am so they can save us.
I need to know I'm on the grid.
We gotta be
On the
safe,
grid.
man.
You were saying that. I'm sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off. You were saying that it was very dreamlike. Do you have any notable dreams that are like of really
Not
crazy significance?
Not of
or,
that
like, just
magnitude.
nonsensical, crazy nonsense going on.
Well, I make sense of my dreams. When I dream, I'm semi-conscious. I have a fan that I put on while I sleep, so I
like
can
a white noise kind
Yeah,
of thing.
exactly, right. So I can test myself to see if I'm conscious or unconscious, and I see can I hear the fan or not.
Okay.
I'm aware of that. It takes a little bit
okay.
of effort.
I have a very similar tactic
Yeah.
because I think I've already talked to you about this. I was really afraid of waking up and being in a nightmare when I
Yeah.
was a kid and being dragged underneath my bed. That was horrifying
Yeah,
to me.
man.
So I figured out you can't feel pain in your dreams.
Right.
So if I bite my finger and it hurts, I know I'm awake.
yeah.
So whenever I wake up, whether it's in real life or a dream, I always bite my finger first thing I do. And that's how that's how I lucid dream. If I'm dreaming and my teeth go through my finger, I'm good.
Yeah, yeah, it's so weird. I don't lucid dream like that, but I process information and I try to figure out what I'm learning. So the basic point is that when you're asleep, you're unconscious, and your unconscious creates images that are relevant to you. Normally, a lot of times it's just processing the information of the day. But if you had some issue that you were going through, it might show up in the dream in some significant way, symbolically, and then you have to sort of put the pieces together and sort of decode what it means for you. I've had a lot of like significant dreams that didn't make sense at the time. Years ago, I still remember them. A lot of landscapes and stuff that are still vivid to me. Like I can see them now, but I didn't know what I was looking for at the time. So I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. And I just woke up in a cold sweat, just fucking insane. Right, just exactly like that. I remember, one time I was just like walking around my house in the dream, and then I walked like off the top of my staircase, and I was like floating. I just kept walking off the air like in a Looney Tunes thing, and I woke up like fuck, and I was just like I was just flipped off the cover.
I'm gonna fall.
Right, it was no. It was just like sheer panic. It wasn't even like I'm
Because
falling.
you were in the air.
Right, it was just like this doesn't make sense. Wake up. It was crazy. Yeah, recently I remember talking to you about this one. Very religious stuff. The more I learn about this, the more it shows up in my dreams.
This
which is,
dream was
of course-
like, man, maybe I shouldn't be friends with Freeman.
Okay, well, he was in it. Let me think. Okay, so I was like in Brazil or some weird place. It was some foreign land. in the dream, not in real life. In the dream, it was like in some apartment. It was like 30 feet in the air. I was like looking over some parade going on. And something happened. I walked down to the street level, and I was like, damn, I want to be in the parade. You know, man, all these people are having a good time, marching and, like, you know, chanting and stuff. I was like, damn, I want to be in the parade. And this is obviously this quick version, but after a while, I was like, there were little shacks set up in the dream where you could go in. It was sort of like a little garage with just like a one-room thing and then a slide-up door. That you could go in, and it was like you just go up and you sign up to be in one of the things, and you sign up to be in the parade. I was like, damn, get me involved in that.
Get me in this
Right,
parade.
yeah. So I go up and I sign up for one of the parades, and it's like, all right, go kill this guy. And I'm like, oh, fine, man, if that's what it
fine.
takes. You know?
Fine, man.
I was like, I
need
gotta
to
be
get
in
my
the
I
parade.
have to be in the parade.
They're having a good time. So I go and kill this guy, and then I go, I walk up to Cody and Paul, who are there. Cody's a good friend of ours. And I'm like, guys, I'm in the parade. I got the head. I got this guy's head that I cut off. And they're all like, damn it, I told you not to do that. And I'm like,
We
shit, man.
advised you otherwise.
I didn't know better. So they come and they're like, all right, you got to atone for this sin you've just sinned here. And then we go and bury the head. And then the sky falls on us. And then I wake up. So I don't.
Anthony, what do
Got
you
really religious at the end.
what do you what do you
Okay.
get from that, Anthony?
What do you mean by the
I-
sky fell?
Well, I looked up and I was like, the sky is falling. And I had to keep it up.
Down?
Yeah, I mean, it was like it was like you were falling downwards and looking downwards, but I was on the ground.
The sky was coming down
Yeah.
at you.
And I've
Like Chicken Little. Like
Yeah.
The sky is falling.
and I remember putting my hands up in the dream, and I was like, oh shit, I've really fucked up this time.
Really fucked up.
So here, I got your dream analysis right here.
Okay,
as
go for it.
chaos, as you get yourself into chaos, and the world seems to be falling apart around you, you still find it upon yourself to hold everything together. There you go.
All right.
I could be
Okay.
your
I mean,
therapist.
well,
That's a good
you know,
dream interpretation.
I'm interested in what you have to think about that too, because everybody, when you hear this, you construct a world for this. You're obviously not hearing exactly my experience, so you're thinking about what you would do in this circumstance.
Kind of picture in my brain what
You
you
know,
were saying.
like, for me, when I heard you say that, I was personally thinking that I can't necessarily feel what you felt from
Yeah.
the parade, but I feel like the parade was something bigger. You felt like you needed to be part of it.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's what I picked up
Some
on.
form of
Yeah.
inclusion.
Yeah.
And I was just so desperate to be part of some group that I ended
You
up.
killed someone.
I
to be
killed,
there.
and it was symbolically Jesus, some heroic figure that I had killed.
You murdered Jesus.
I'd murdered Jesus. The sky fell. What do you want from me, man?
That's hardcore.
Yeah.
The world ended.
Yeah, I fucked up bad. Well, I guess that's what you learn.
Save us during the podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, dream interpretation is so good, man. I've talked to so many people about dreams. Everybody picks up on something different. It's like a little bit more information every time. That was a lot of what we were doing on the trek. It was just like, oh, I'm having these weird dreams. They don't make sense. And then I would sit in a room full of 20 very spiritual people who would all listen very closely and then figure out what was going on. And that was like, I guess that was sort of the incarnation of my interest in that sort of thing. It was a lot of good stuff.
That's pretty cool. Anthony, have you had any like notable dreams that have helped you figure anything out?
Actually, what's interesting is that when I was a kid, I used to be able to lucid dream on command,
Wow.
and sleeping was my favorite part of the day because I could go to bed
Damn.
and recreate my day in the way that I imagined.
I'm jealous, man. I'm so jealous.
As I got older, it
Yeah.
faded away, and like now, it's very hard for me to lucid dream. But back in the day, I used to be able to,
You know-
snap a finger and do that stuff.
That's like I've gone through some forums about people that lucid dream for like an activity, and the worst thing they say is like as soon as you could lucid dream on command, you don't enjoy your real life anymore
Oh, man.
because it's just so much better when you're sleeping.
It is. It is. You can recreate a whole day in school and make it work out the way you want it.
That awkward thing you said in class, you didn't
I
say
got
it.
an
The
A.
homework you didn't do, you did it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The whole
Damn.
day.
The girl you wanted to hold her hand, you held it.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Damn.
I had a really crazy lucid dream when I was in high school. and I don't know what it means, but I was walking with my grandmother on the side of this cliff, and for whatever reason, I had to run ahead to see what was ahead. And I was running ahead, but I was also trying to talk to my grandmother. So I looked back, and when I looked back, there was this sharp turn, and I didn't see the turn, and I went off the straight of the cliff. And I fell off the cliff, and I was falling, and I could feel myself fall in the lucid dream. And when I hit the ground, I woke up, and I was out of breath.
Wow.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, damn.
I have my dreams are like your guys' dreams have like cohesive storylines, and I don't know what it is about my brain.
Well,
but like it's just crazy stuff going on.
Well-
I was in a random house,
yeah,
windows boarded up, but me and some friend, I forgot who was there,
yeah.
and we looked outside, and there was imagine an elephant's trunk,
Oh, yeah.
except it is the mouth of an alligator. So like it opens top and bottom, but it's
no.
but it's
Fucked
the
up.
length of the trunk,
fucked
and
up.
it's like wiggly, like a snake,
Oh, no.
and it curls up.
It's all
Oh,
fucked
no.
up.
Like an anteater's nose or tongue or whatever, and it's just outside trying to get in, and it's like
Trying to get
rapping
in.
on the windows and
Yeah.
like putting its mouth through the tubes trying to get. There was a big furnace in the middle of the room,
Whoa.
and it's putting its mouth down the stovepipe and like wiggling around inside the furnace, and I'm like trying to lock the furnace door closed, and I woke up so afraid of this
Damn.
monster.
That's
It was
Damn.
just like I don't even know what to make of it. Like
I swear, I figured out a little bit of that.
some kind of terror in my life that I feel like I have no control over.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I mean, it's also, well, so there's this concept called like heat, basically, and the idea is that you picture yourself living in an ice world, and you have a little bit of heat that you have to hold on to, and you have to tend the flame and protect it and keep it alive in the ice world. It's a dangerous world. So if you're in a house that represents some sort of stability, windows boarded up, obviously you don't want anything coming in. The heat in the house, the furnace, that's like the home fire. It's like a homestead. It's like this is your place. This is your power. There's a monster trying to get in.
It signifies life.
Yeah, something like that. Some sort of conflict resolution where you're dealing with a really big threat that's trying to get in and corrupt your spirit, yourself.
Interesting.
I mean, as far as like the random aspect of it goes, I'm piecing together a lot of stuff. I'm decoding a lot of things that don't make sense. I'm putting everything in perspective.
You're making a lot of leaps of judgment, or
Sure.
like I'm not to say assumptions, but stuff.
From the
Suggestion.
nonsense.
Right. You have to. A lot of it is just suggestion. You have to pull stuff out of it. So if you're just gonna say, it didn't mean anything, or nah, it's too much, I can't think about it. That's a weird first step. A lot of it is recognizing how weird it is, but you have to know that it's part of your brain.
Yeah.
It's relevant probably. You can learn a lot from dreams. Without even knowing that you did.
Yeah, I mean that's what your brain does. It
Yeah,
tries
yeah.
to figure out answers to problems that you've been dealing with while you're asleep. It's
That-
like it's
that
trying
y-
to.
that you don't know you know the answer for.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing to me.
Dreams are very crazy.
Yeah.
It's. I don't like how the perception of time in a dream can be changed, because like you could dream for 45 seconds and it could be this whole
Yeah.
convoluted story with things going up and down, and then there's a conclusion at the end. You're like, yeah, I did it, and then you wake up. That could happen over 30, 45 seconds,
Yeah.
True.
and it feels like hours
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
True. I've definitely set my alarm back to sleep for another 20 minutes, and it felt like an hour before.
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm just like disorientated because, I just spent a whole hour in dream world.
In dream world.
It's wacky.
If there was like a vitamin supplement that I could take that would make me dream every night, make me be conscious of my dreams every night and remember them, I would take it in a heartbeat.
That's an interesting way to phrase that. This is sort of a different topic, but why do you think you need a vitamin to do that?
Because I'm too lazy to do it myself.
Okay, there you go. All right. That was what I was hinting at. I didn't want to say that.
Because you could definitely learn how to do it and practice and get better at it.
That takes time
But it
and
takes
effort.
time and
Yeah,
effort
yeah, yeah.
and stuff that I don't want to do, Freeman. Don't
I know what you mean.
judge
I know
me.
this. I get this a lot because Cody for a while was really razzing me, saying that I act like I'm better than everybody else. But that's the same. I don't get that impulse of wanting to supplement something
natural or a skill with some artificial.
You know what?
Replacement.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I've recently started bodybuilding.
Yeah,
and
man.
A lot of people take supplements to do that, but I feel like I don't need
You could do
a
it natural.
supplement.
Yeah. But I don't even like drink coffee. You know,
I don't drink coffee either.
Yeah.
I'm a green tea guy.
Yeah. Well, anything
I don't
like
think
that.
he even does caffeine.
Oh, really?
No
You do No
caffeine.
caffeine? Oh, wow. Kudos to that.
I try to be present. I try to be, all faculties
you are.
intact. Not like in a complacent way, but in a way that I'm not like substituting any natural ability of mine with anything else.
That's probably the best way to do it.
No, that's honestly the best
I
way
see
to
a
do
lot
it.
of people not doing that. So it's hard to relate. It's weird because it seems like exactly the logical thing, but it's so expedient to do it otherwise, and it's really inconvenient to put the time in.
We've got the Starbucks, you know what I mean? We've got the Dunkin'
I mean,
Donuts.
we
we've
live in a
got all
time of
these-
shortcuts.
Right.
No, yeah. Like,
Well,
Everything's getting faster and faster, and like things that you want
Yeah.
that that people used to do
how
that took
popular
I-
effort and time you could do
Adderall, yeah.
like
I
that.
haven't. I didn't drink any green tea this morning. I actually went to the gym this morning.
Yeah, man.
And I've been energized all day, and I feel like if more people did natural things like that, then
Yeah.
we wouldn't need a Starbucks and a Dunkin' Donuts. But because, like as Paul was saying, people are too lazy and they want to take shortcuts, we do have a Dunkin' Donuts
well-
drive-through and a Starbucks.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, those things, being efficient isn't the problem, and I don't think it's all laziness. I mean, a lot of this stuff is dangerous if you start learning about things you're not doing. There's a lot of things you're not doing that you should be doing, and it's really hard to confront that in a way that is positive for you.
Okay.
So, but I mean, that's again a therapeutic thing. You have to confront
Yeah.
those things, and
It's really easy to fall into the mindset of, man, I should be doing this, this, and this. Aren't I an asshole for not doing that?
I that was one of the things that I fixed in after high school. There's one of the first things I recognized where it's like I know what I should be doing and I'm not doing it. So I want to narrow the distance between knowing I should be doing something and doing something. So I started just going to sleep at regular times and eating right, going to the gym, getting all that stuff in order. It's a lot of good stuff. It really changed how I think about stuff. And I got, I remember Dana got really mad at me one time because I don't understand procrastination. It's the same kind of thing where it's like, oh, just do it. And I helped her. She messaged me one time at like 10 o'clock. And she was like, can you motivate me to do this paper right now? And I sent her this whole paragraph on like why she should do it and how she would feel bad if she didn't do it and all this stuff. And it was really nice. And she's like, oh, wow, thanks. I saw her the next day and she was like, I stayed up all night learning Morse code. And it's like, okay, what the fuck was all of that for?
Man.
And she got mad at me for saying it's like a juvenile thing, procrastination. But
What are your thoughts on veganism, Freeman?
I'm down with it. A lot of people do it as just a sort of moralism, a lot of posturing, where it's like, look how caring I am, and there's no real thing behind it. It's very selfish.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's paradigm shift. It's gonna have to happen. Or we change how meat works. Anyway, I could be a vegan. I think you could do it right. I bet I could do it.
I bet you can't.
Yeah?
I was
Yeah.
a vegan last
Damn.
month. I went vegan for the whole month.
The whole month,
last Yeah.
How'd I feel?
You know what? It really opened my mind up to some new vegetables out there. Like, I changed my taste buds up. Honestly, foods that I
Sure.
never really cared to try. I
That's
found
nice.
myself eating more. So yeah,
That's great.
I don't find myself eating as much meat now that I'm
But
back on meat.
do
but I
you find
eat
yourself appreciating meat more?
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
I eat meat 3 meals a day. I don't appreciate it.
That's the thing is like I don't feel like I need to eat meat all the time now. Like I can substitute a salad for lunch and be perfectly fine. So like I don't know. I wouldn't say that necessarily makes me appreciate meat more, but it makes me respect the properties of meat, I guess. You know what I mean? Like I understand
I
meat,
get what you mean.
protein and all that stuff, and I definitely feel more energized when I'm on meat than I did with veganism. And don't
I'm
get me
on
wrong, I
meat
was
right
getting
now.
a lot of protein. I was getting a lot of protein. You know, I was eating hummus,
Yeah.
nuts, all a bunch of stuff. But I still find that with meat, you're getting the nutritional value you need. Through
You
each
can
meal.
you can eat healthy veganism. I mean, there's so many reasons to be vegan. Half of them are health, half of them are moral reasons, protecting animal rights and whatnot.
I feel like
yeah,
that's it. It's
like,
like
yeah.
to be a vegan, it's more willpower
Mm-hmm.
than really the nutritional value. Like you really got to be an ethical vegan. Like, oh, I don't
Mm-hmm. You have to
want
have
to kill animals. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. You have to have a really good reason to do it.
Yeah,
I mean, well,
exactly.
it's like when
I
you
did it non-ethical. So.
It's like, well, yeah. Either way, you could do it for a month. That's.
Yeah.
Most people, I bet, right now couldn't do that. If you wanted them to change some basic, fundamental part of their schedule structure, they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't last.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like when people quit smoking cigarettes, they need a good reason other than this is unhealthy and it's going to kill you. So a
Yeah.
lot of people go, okay, if I stop smoking for a year, I'll buy myself a car because I would have spent that on cigarettes, or I buy myself a new laptop every month or something like that. They need some good reason
Yeah.
to do that. The moral part is that. The health part is that for veganism. So I could do it just to prove myself that I could. I'm doing that right now with something else, but I do little things like that every day, where I tell myself, no, you can't have a cupcake or whatever, things like that, or cold showers even.
Yeah.
Do you
something-
do cold showers?
I'm back on the cold showers. Yeah.
What
I
does
did
that
for 2 weeks.
What does that do for you?
Just like do something that you don't really want to do.
Just like a disciplinary thing?
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good
Self-discipline,
way
yeah.
to take you out of your comfort zone.
I think it's
taking cold
I think
showers.
it's better for your skin as well.
Yeah.
Sure.
It is. It is better for your skin.
The warm water takes the
And I heard over time, it makes you more energized. Taking a
sure.
cold shower. Yeah.
I do it right after I work out every time.
Ooh, that's got to be.
Oh, that's. ooh.
It's nice, yeah. Which is it's actually kind of bad because you don't want to like reduce inflammation because that has to do with muscle growth, but it doesn't really matter. It's just about getting into the shower before you turn the water on,
Yeah.
doing things because I said I should do them. That's like what I want to start doing.
Yeah. It's
Sounds like
good.
you're very well disciplined. You have a very
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. Psychologically, dreams, I have a hard time controlling those. There's a lot of dreams that I don't want to be having, that I get very upset, that I can't control. But it's one of those things. So, yeah.
So what else do you want to talk about?
Damn.
I think we're running pretty close on time.
On my
Yeah, we've got
Spotify
about 10
account,
minutes left in the podcast
I have a funny
for
little story.
everybody still listening.
Freeman's got a little bit.
My Spotify account got hacked
Uh-oh.
Spotify.
twice in one day.
By whom?
I don't know. It was some weird thing.
Was it me?
No, I hope not. Were you listening to Avicii on my family
What the hell's
plan?
Avicii? Didn't that guy die?
Yeah, he's dead now.
Yeah, he's like 25, right?
Yeah, he made $1 million on one song and then
Croaked.
kicked the
Dude,
bucket.
he made that one song.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. You know it's on.
I know what I mean.
Yeah.
I never listened to it, but I know it's a popular one.
Yeah. I'll
Sandstorm.
play it at
No.
the I'll play it at the end of the
Darude
podcast
Sandstorm.
so everybody can hear it.
Yeah, he made that song,
Sandstorm.
Darude Sandstorm.
You know Avicii?
Yeah.
Isn't
I'll
Darude
play
the
the
name of the guy
Avicii
that
song
did
at
it?
the end of the podcast for
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah.
We don't have the rights. Wait, he's dead.
Yeah.
Do
Oh,
we
shit.
have rights?
Yeah, wait.
It's,
Do we have the rights to the track?
We'll
whatever.
find out.
Make a song. Make a song that sounds like Avicii.
Think about that. That after people die, had taking the
Yeah.
rights to use
Yeah.
their
What is that
what they
called?
made as an
Free
artist,
domain?
Yeah,
Something like
free
that.
domain.
Yeah.
right?
That happened
You
to
can't tell.
like old timey cartoons, free domain. Like people could use the really old guys for like just anything. Like I think that's
Sure.
how the Pink Panther became like the mascot for an insulation company. That pink insulation.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh yeah,
Because
he
he became free domain
Yeah.
at some point.
That's genius.
And it almost happened to Bugs Bunny a couple years
Really?
ago, I think. Yeah.
Damn.
And it was like at the last second.
Somebody bought
Warner
it.
Bros. Is Bugs Bunny.
Yeah,
yeah.
They bought him back like as soon as
Shit.
they
He's an
renewed him.
icon. You need to, like, what would we do if Mickey Mouse was on mouses? You know?
Yeah.
Mouse
If
pad.
Mickey Mouse could be used
Right.
on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks so bad. Mickey Mouse, he's a cultural phenomenon. You know?
Yeah, you can't just have him on
He's
anything,
sacred.
You know what I mean? You gotta have Mickey Mouse
Yeah,
on
that's
that
good.
designer stuff.
Intellectual property is so weird, man. Well, it's just a totally irrational thing that's also totally practical. So
weird.
it has to be real, but it's doesn't really make sense to me.
Isn't Tarzan public domain?
I don't know, dude.
That's pretty old. I don't know.
We could bring up a list of
There's
public
a-
domain things.
There was this old
King
like
Kong is public domain.
Yes.
I remember that there was like some lawsuit about that, and then both sides didn't realize it was public domain, and they were just like, "No, I own it," and they're like, "No, I want to buy the rights," but it was like just totally free. Similar to that, there was this Fantastic Four movie in the '90s, which was made solely to secure the rights for the film, and it's the worst thing ever. It's so fucking bad. It's terrible. You can find it on YouTube in its entirety because nobody gives a shit. It was like they had to do something with the rights to the film, so.
You have like all the characters from.
What's it called?
Fantastic Four. It's the Roger Corman version.
Oh,
It's,
okay.
Yeah.
All the characters from Wizard of Oz.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Cthulhu, Hercules.
I guess Calvin has to be.
Who's Natty Bumpo?
Like-
What the fuck?
Like Calvin, like the
Calvin and Hobbes.
yeah, Calvin and Hobbes,
Because
yeah.
you see him on every truck in fucking
True.
Rhinebeck.
Natty Bumpo is a white man who has no Indian blood in him, but has lived so long with them he is caught between the two worlds.
Whoa.
Known by the whites as Hawkeye or the Deer Slayer, the Indians call him La Longue Carabine or the Long Rifle. Interesting. That's something I have to. No, yeah, that's something.
Yeah, I gotta read up on that one. That's
Is that
really
a?
interesting.
He's public domain.
Damn.
You
What
could
do you
be
call that when you rearrange the letters and you get something else?
anagram?
Yeah, that's right.
What do you want to rearrange that?
I
to?
don't know. I have no idea. It just looks like one because it doesn't make any sense. Why is there two P's in Bumpo?
Why are there two?
That's a good
What the
point.
fuck?
Oh no, my soundboard crashed.
Oh, well.
We'll do clapping.
Crash of the soundboard.
All right.
All right, we got about 4 minutes left, so I
think we can
we're-
wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we could wrap it up.
This is a good talk.
Any last? Yeah, this was a really good episode. Any last thoughts?
Dreams are cool.
Dreams are
Dreams
very
are
good.
People in charge of our countries in the world right now I don't think they're doing the right things.
Things are getting pretty risky.
Yeah.
Things
But
are
what do I
You
know?
ever played the word
I mean, well-
game Risk? Yeah, it's
Axis and allies.
yeah, Axis and Allies or Rus.
Shit, man.
It's getting pretty weird now.
Damn.
The UN
Like,
needs to
it's getting
change.
like a real game of Civilization.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah,
world
so
right now. You know what I mean? Civ 6. Things are looking pretty weird.
Damn.
That should be the tagline for the game. Civ
Civ six.
Myers,
We're living it.
Civilization
Hey
6.
guys. Yeah.
Things are getting weird.
That's good stuff. Well, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm
Thanks for
down
being
to do
on.
this again.
Yeah.
I love
definitely.
talking. Yeah.
Definitely want to have you on again.
Cool, man.
Big round of applause to our special guest, Freeman.
Yeah. Do four.
Woo!
Yeah. Thanks,
Hold
guys.
on, wait.
Yeah.
Nice. That one's even better.
Right on.
This was a blast. Had a good time.
Having a good time.
This was a really good one.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm your co-host, Anthony, and Paul, you want to take us out?
I don't like the way you do this. You always throw it at me.
You gotta freewheel it, man.
Free will, more like free men.
Yeah, man. All right.
Bye.
That's it. That's the end.
See ya.
That's how you end it. Like, free will. You need
Oh boy.
Everybody have a good night.
Peace out.